Right, now we continue with our study of the Sela Sutta, that is in chapter 7a of SD 45. Okay, today is part 2 of the Sutta. So today we look at how Sela, the verses that Sela and the Buddha exchange one another. Sela here is a brahmin, and he's very happy to hear the word Buddha. He's a very learned brahmin, learned priest, because he knows that the word Buddha is very rare to hear. His idea is that if you can meet someone like the Buddha, it would be really wonderful, because the Buddha is very rare kind of person according to his understanding based on the ancient texts. The Buddha is, or rather, this special person is called a great man, mahā purisa. So if this mahā purisa remains at home, he will be a great king, a world ruler, a world emperor. And if he lives home, he'll become a world teacher, the Buddha. So of course here we know it's the Buddha, it's Gautama, or Gautama Buddha. So when he hears the word Buddha from his friend, the part-time ascetic called Keṇiya, he was very excited, so happy. So he goes to see the Buddha. So this was last week's study on the Sela Sutta, which is M92, which is also repeated in the Samyutta, in the Sutta Nipāta as N 3.7. So he speaks to the Buddha in verses. He is praising the Buddha because of the Buddha's qualities of the great man. Okay, so the verses start on page 71. So in other words, his faith in the Buddha is more of a kind of a worldly faith, if you like, to start with. But it's a good start, because later on he actually becomes a monk, and later on he and his pupils, they all became awakened as arahats. So this is a story of how he meets the Buddha, he praises the Buddha, he has great faith in the Buddha. So these verses are from the Sutta Nipāta, verses 548 onwards, and these verses are also found in the Theragatha, his own Theragatha, verses 818 onwards. So he says, the first verse it tells the Buddha, "Fully complete is your body, radiant, well-formed, lovely to behold. Golden is the Blessed One's complexion, of pure white teeth, heroic in effort." So here we see he's praising the Buddha, in other words, as the mahā purisa, the great man. "For whatever of a man well-born, those marks that be, they are all on your body, the marks of the great man." So there you are, he is confirming, he's very happy. He sees the Buddha as this perfect human being, who is the Buddha in this case. "Clear are your eyes, fair is your face, large or perfect, straight, splendid like a flame in the midst of a community of recluses, blazing like the sun." Right? So this is a symbolism of light. So the Buddha looks like this bright light, shining, surrounded by the monks. "A monk, good or beautiful to look at, with skin resembling gold. But what is the ascetic state to you, one of such excellent appearance? You are worthy of being a king, a wheel turner, the bellwether of warriors, a conqueror with the fourfold force, Supreme Lord of Jambunada." So this is the, if he remains as a householder, as a layperson, he will be a world monarch. Okay? "Nobles, princes and kings will be your vessels or tributaries. The King of Kings, the Lord of Men, rule Gautama." So here he has great faith in the Buddha, so he's like declaring, welcoming the Buddha like a king, but here is a spiritual king. Then the Buddha replies. The Buddha says, "Rajahamasmi selati bhagava Dhammaraja anuttaro dhammena cakkang vattemi cakkang apativattiyam. The king am I, Sela, said the Blessed One, Supreme Dhammaraja, the King of Truth. By Dharma truth I turn the wheel, a wheel that rolls not back. Right, so this is a typical way the Buddha talks as well. You can call me king if you like, but this is a spiritual quality, spiritual title if you like. And he teaches the Dharma, in that sense, he's King of Truth. Then Sela continues and says, you claim to be self-awakened. Thus said Sela the Brahmin, a supreme Dharma Raja, King of Truth. By Dharma or the truth is the wheel turned. Thus you say, Gautama. But who is the Master's general, the disciple who goes the teacher's way? Who will after you keep turning the wheel that has been kept rolling by you, right? So who's going to take over your place? So here, it is a very interesting question. Obviously, at this time, Sariputta was still alive. But we know later, actually, Sariputta is quite old. He predeceases the Buddha. He dies before the Buddha. So here, obviously, this is a time when the Sariputta was still alive, maybe quite early in the Buddha's ministry. So the Buddha replies and say, turn is the wheel by me, Sela, said the Blessed One, the supreme Dhamma wheel. Sariputta turns it after me, or turns it as I do, taking after the Tathagata. Okay, here we have another way of translating this. We can see the Pali. Let me read the Pali first. No? Maya Pavatitang Cakkang Selati Bhagava Dhamma Cakkang Anuttarang Sariputto Anuvateti Anujato Tathagatam. So we can translate Sariputto Anuvateti as Sariputta teaches the Dharma after me. In other words, just like the way I teach. Anujato can mean following the Buddha, or it can also mean heir to the Buddha, right? So we can take the meaning as Sariputta is the one who teaches just like the Buddha, very close to him. Someone's very wise, almost as wise as the Buddha. Or we can simply take it as meaning Sariputta is a kind of heir to the Buddha. He will continue the Buddha's teaching after the Buddha's passing, but as we know, Sariputta was quite old and it predeceased the Buddha. So that's why I say this sutta probably was a recorded time before Sariputta's passing away. Then the Buddha continues and says, what is to be known has been known. What is to be cultivated has been cultivated. What is to be abandoned has been abandoned by me. Therefore, Brahmin, awaken. The Buddha am I. Right? So this is the usual way the Arahats would talk. He has completely understood the Four Noble Truths. Rid of any doubt in me, resolve myself, Brahmin, with faith. Ever difficult to see is the self-awakened one. Difficulty is for those in the world to find their appearance ever difficult. That self-awakened one am I, Brahmin, a peerless doubt remover. So here the Buddha is addressing Sela's own understanding, because to Sela it's rare to meet the Buddha. He's so happy to be able to see the Buddha. So the Buddha is confirming this. Having become perfect, unequal crusher of Mara's hosts, having overcome all enemies, I rejoice everywhere, free from fear. Right? So Mara is the opposite of the Buddha, I feel like. All those things which are confusing and bad and evil, all that the Buddha has overcome. Here this says, okay, now Sela is the one who answers, who speaks next. Here this says, so he's addressing his own followers, about 400 followers. What the one with the eyes says. The surgeon or dart remover, the great hero, he roars like a lion in the wood. Having become Buddha, unequal crusher of Mara's hosts.
Buddha?
Sorry?
You said having become Buddha.
Have become Brahma, sorry. Having become Brahma. Here Brahma means, the word simply means perfect, become awakened. Having become Brahma, or having become perfect, unequal, crusher of Mara's hosts. having seen him, who wouldn't have faith? Even those born lowly into a dark, or you might say lowly, a dark or a bad lowly birth. Right? Here, kanha bijatiko is a quite tricky word to translate. Those born into a bad lowly birth. Let him who wishes follow me, or who wishes not, let him go. Here I will go forth in the presence of the wisely noble one. So here we see this man, Sela, is a very spiritual person. He's almost like a psychic. It's as if he's been waiting for the Buddha to come. So the moment he hears the word Buddha, he was so joyful, and he just went to look for the Buddha. And then he wants to make sure it is the Buddha. It's got all the characteristics. Then he says, then he listens to the Buddha, he talks to the Buddha. Then he's convinced, and now he tells his followers, says, okay, this is the Buddha. I'm going to be his monk. I'm going to renounce the world. So if you like, you can join me. Otherwise, it's up to you. Goodbye, So this is what he says. Then the Brahmin youth, so now his followers reply, if the master approves of the teaching of the fully sub-awakened, we too will go forth in the presence of the wisely noble one. Right? So those days, the students follow the teacher. If the teacher renounces the world, they also follow. Then Sela says, the 300 Brahmins, or the 300 of his students, with palms together, beg of you, let us live the holy life, O Blessed One, in your presence. Right? So this verse, SN 566 or Theragatha 836, is Sela's request for ordination, also on behalf of his 300 followers. Then the Buddha ordains them. This is a Bhikkhu ordination, so this is probably quite an early event. And this is his ordination. The Buddha declares, well taught is the holy life. Now once you hear this line, probably what is not mentioned here is that Sela and his followers have become stream winners. That also explains why the 300 Brahmins also have faith in the Buddha. They say, well, if you say so, we also would like to join. They too have faith. And moreover, the Buddha ordains them by the come, O monks, ehi bhikkhave ordination, eta bhikkhave ordination. That means they all have become stream winners. They are not monks by convention. They are monks in fact. They are joining the noble sangha, if you like, or they already joined the noble sangha. Now is they're kind of getting formally dressed as monks. Well taught is the holy life, O Sela, said the Blessed One, seen here and now, nothing to do with time, where the going forth is an empty for one who trains heedfully. Right? So you find Sela has been ordained. So that part of the story ends there. So now the story shifts back to Sela's friend, a very interesting part-time ascetic called Keṇiya, who is preparing the meal for the Buddha. So this happened in the night. Keṇiya is preparing his food and the meal for the Buddha. So I suppose the next morning's meal, here's another extra 300 or 301 monks to offer. His friend, Keṇiya sees his friend Sela has become a monk. So the offering is made. It follows the next day. So here, it's quite a short paragraph there. The Buddha and the monks went to Keṇiya's ashram, his center, and they are offered the morning meal. And then the Buddha finishes the meal, and the Buddha gives this very appropriate blessing, thanksgiving to Keṇiya. Okay, and the verse goes like this: Agihutta mukha yanya savitri chandaso mukhang raja mukhang manusanang nadinang sagaro mukhang. The fire sacrifice is just chief of sacrifices. The Savitri is the chief of poetic meters. Poetic meters are the rhyme of poems. the beat of poem, the sound, beautiful sound of poems. The king is the chief amongst humans. Of rivers, the ocean is the chief. So here the Buddha is talking about what are the important things in the world outside. Nakatanang mukhang chando adicho tapatang mukhang punyang akang kamananang sango ve yajatang mukhanti. Of stars, the moon is the chief. In other words, of those little lights in the sky, here stars has a broader meaning than we understand. All the little dots of light in the night sky, the moon is the brightest. The sun is foremost of those that shine. For those desiring merit, the Sangha is indeed the best to sacrifice to. So here, all the previous lines are worldly affairs, leading to the last line, which is a spiritual, of spiritual nature. In other words, what the Buddha is saying, there are lots of wonderful things in the world, but the most wonderful is the ability to offer dana to the saints, to the noble Sangha, in other words. So then that part finishes, and then we have a bit of a gap. We're not sure how long this gap is, because this is the story goes back to Sela. Sela has been meditating. He and his pupils, they all became arahats. They all went to retreat, right? The famous, the full arahathood pericope, which begins, then the Venerable Sela, along with his retinue, dwelling alone, aloof, diligent, executive, and resolute, in no long time, and so on, it became arahats. And then they return. He returns with his retinue to meet the Buddha to declare that he has attained awakening. With joint palms, they go before the Buddha, and here this time he declares his awakening, again in verse, Sutta Nipāta 570, the same as Theragatha 838. Yantang saranang agamha ito atami chakuma sataratena bhagava dantam hitawa sasane. Since we went for refuge, 8 days have passed, O seeing one. In these 7 nights, Blessed One, we were tamed in your teachings. So here is where it's interesting. Within 7 nights of deep meditation, they became arhats. So these are really great saints of the early days. Tuang Buddho, Tuang Sattha, Tuang Mara Bibu Muni, Tuang Anusaye Cetwa, Tino Tare Simang Pajam. You are the Buddha, you are the teacher, you are the silent sage who conquered Mara. Cutting off the latent tendencies, you have guided this generation across. So here again is praising the Buddha. So these are joyful statements. Okay, he's praising the Buddha because he's so joyful. Upadite samati kanta asavate padalita sihoa apadano bahina bhaya bhairavo. You have gone beyond acquisitions, you have removed all influxes, you are like a lion free from clinging, you have abandoned fear and terror. Bhikkhavo tisata ime titanti panjali kata padevara pasarehi naga vandantu satunoti. These 300 monks stand with palms together. Extend your feet, O hero, let the nagas salute the teacher. Nagas here means elephants, big giant elephants. Here refers to the arahats. Right? Say, we are going to bow down to you, pay our respect. So here they come back to declare their awakening. So here the Sela Sutta ends. Okay?